All right, so Sunday we had a big division rivalry game between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, the Packers need this one just to stay alive, but this was a big game for Minnesota as well. The Vikings need, and I mean they need to be the number 2 seed because home field is crucial for them to have a chance against a Dallas or a San Francisco in the postseason. Truthfully, I think they still lose to both teams either way, but at least if the game is in Minnesota, they have a puncher's chance. If Kirk Cousins has to come to San Francisco, the Vikings are cooked. But back to this game, this was an important game. It's worth mentioning that I don't really think people understand when they're watching these games that it's pretty much won and lost on two things. One being turnovers and two being how you do in the red zone. If you got players on your team who are prone to fumbling the ball or just get unlucky fumbles, you're screwed. Interceptions, in my opinion, aren't as bad because that usually means you are being aggressive and you are making at least attempting to make plays, and you're probably making plays downfield before you had that interception. And when you're playing offense, it's generally better to be in attack mode, which is a sign. Interceptions are a sign of being in attack mode. And I would take that over playing it safe. You don't want to be playing defense on offense. That's why the Arizona coach called out Matt Patricia because it's evident in their play calling that the Patriots are being scary on offense. And as far as red zone conversions go, every team pretty much racks up yards between the 20s throughout the course of a game. But when you get to that red zone, if you're settling for 3 or turning it over instead of 7, that's pretty much a death wish. Also, it feels like kickers are missing more nowadays, at least this season. And the weather in these cities is always a concern by this time of the year. So my point is the mistakes killed the Vikings from the jump. They blocked the punt but got stopped at the 1 3 straight times. They let Nixon take it to the house on the kick return. They go for it on 4th and 3, and it ricochets off a few guys before being caught and taken for a pick six. At this point, it's 14-3, but the game is effectively over. You've lost all momentum on the road. Kirk Cousins is crumbling. That offensive line is crumbling. The crowd is into it, and the Packers are as confident as they've been all year. Now, last week I didn't make a spread video because my only Sunday pick was the Lions -6, which I posted on all my accounts and it cashed easily. But to be fully transparent, if you asked me about this game beforehand, I would have said lean Packers at -3, but at 3.5, I wouldn't have touched that game because Minnesota is that weird team that can find a way to cover that kind of spread. But as you guys know, it ended up being a blowout 41-17 in favor of Green Bay. And Jaire Alexander got the best of Justin Jefferson, holding him to 1 for 15, including hitting that motherfucking gritty in his face. I was so fucking weak when I seen that shit. I was weak when I seen him after the game wearing that big ass hat telling Skip and Shannon to put some respect on his name. And he's right. They said he was a good corner and he corrected them and said he's a great corner and he showed that with his play. He deserves that money that they gave him, if for anything, just that game that he had against Justin Jefferson. But anyways, they're going to react to the game and his comments. Let's see what they have to say.
Taking names all over the place, keeping receipts. All right, Shannon, what's your response to Jaire?
Hey, why you picking on the debate host? Man, I ain't bothering nobody. I'm just up here doing my job. I said you're a good corner. You gotta
He's a great corner. That's the point.
let you talk. I said I ain't got no problem with the man talking, but now you talked it, you got to back it up. Yep.
And that's what he did. I don't mind people talking as long as you can back it up. If you can do anything in life, as long as you can do it, you can talk all you want.
You backed it up.
He did.
I ain't got no beef with you, bro. I don't want no smoke. You played unbelievable.
Yep.
The Packers defense played unbelievable.
They did.
And again, the Vikings offense picked up one of the most inopportune time. The defense terrible, Skip. They ain't going nowhere. You can't give up 40 points to Green Bay on the road.
Yeah, the Vikings defense is a bunch of cones out there. You can get whatever you want offensively against that Vikings defense, especially on the road. They don't stand a chance. There's no way the Vikings are going to get stops on the road in the postseason. To me, that this is a team that's probably going to be one and done. It looks like they're going to get the Giants in the first round at home. If they can beat the Giants in a home game, that's cool. But in the second round against a team like the Niners, now that they have to probably go to San Francisco, it's looking bad for that.
You can't give up 40 points at home to the Cowboys. You give up.
And I can't wait to see what the spread of that game is going to be. Like, what are the odds? What's the spread going to be when Minnesota is going to San Francisco? Like, are they going to make the Niners -6 between a 2 and a 3 seed? Like, that would be crazy to see. But, I mean, who would want to take Minnesota in that spot? It's just not going to look good.
Another 34 points to the Detroit line. You see, if these games are not nip tuck, they get blown away. Give the Cowboys, give the Packers defense credit. They did an unbelievable job. They had a game plan of how they wanted to attack Cousins, and this passing
Niners would probably be -4.5, -5 hosting the Vikings.
game offense, but it also didn't help them that Cook couldn't get going running the football because a lot of what they do is off play action. Well, Skip, you can't run the football. I ain't taking no fake. Hell, you ain't going nowhere. What you sticking? What you faking it for? So now I get to drop in my zones. Jaire, you had an unbelievable game. You played extremely well, and you needed to play extremely well in order for them to have a chance, for your team to have a chance to win. But I still don't believe Justin Jefferson week 1 was a fluke. The man has 1,700 yards. So even if I take that 184 yards away from him, he's still leading the NFL in receiving yards. Yeah. So it's not his.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson ain't no fluke, but I think Green Bay just wasn't prepared for the Vikings in week 1. The Vikings were charged up. They got rid of Zimmerman. They brought in this new coach, O'Connell, and he just was drawing up some great plays. He had them ready. And when Christian Watson dropped that catch deep, that Aaron Rodgers, that deep ball that Aaron Rodgers sent up to him to start that game, once he dropped that, you could tell what was happening in that game.
This season is not a fluke. So you played well, deservingly so. You get to pat yourself on the back. Your teammates should pat themselves on the back. Yeah. You played phenomenal.
Okay, I agree. I don't mind him calling us out because he walked his talk.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will say, if you remember my response to your response on Friday, I said, well, I liked everything that he said up to the word fluke.
Right.
Because he was trying to make the case, which I appreciated. He doesn't wear a Superman suit. He said a super suit. But Superman, it's like he doesn't go in a phone booth and change into a Superman suit. He's just a man like I'm just a man. Right. I don't have...
And that's how you should approach anybody in life. I mean, you shouldn't be afraid of anybody, but you shouldn't disrespect anybody. Everybody's human. Everybody bleeds just like you. You treat everybody with the same respect you want to be treated with, and you don't fanboy out over people's work or criticize them or whatever, or hate on them. You can criticize, you don't hate on them. You just look at it for what it is, and you judge it for what it is. And if you love something that somebody else has, or if someone's doing better than you, you admire that about the person, and you congratulate them for the things that they've accomplished. But you don't just fanboy out or put guys on a pedestal or hate on guys. That's just, you don't have to be all over the place. Everybody's just a man, and you just show respect and you keep it pushing. Alexander did a great job in his pre and post game comments and the way that he handled everything. He just went about it like a man this week.
Have a Superman suit either, but we're just men. So he was trying to say he's not supernatural,
right?
You know, like
the Samuel Jackson guy. I think it's the Incredibles. Where's my super suit?
Okay, all right, there you go. But the point is, he was on to something, because you can't hold this human down, this number 18 for the Minnesota Vikings, because I've watched him get held down before.
Right.
It wasn't a fluke what he did, because if that was a fluke, then he's had a whole bunch of flukes.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson ain't no fluke. Once again, Justin Jefferson is not no fluke. But I did see Darius Slay give Justin Jefferson a hard time when the Vikings went to Minnesota. The Cowboys, they were able to lock up Justin Jefferson. But a big part of Justin Jefferson's struggles is that Kirk Cousins folds up sometimes. It's hard to be a wide receiver and make plays when your quarterback can't get you the ball.
Yeah, he's fluky.
He's fluking everywhere, right? And he's not fluky.
Right.
He's really good.
Yes.
But he is tameable. He is controllable.
Right.
He is beatable. And to Jaire's credit, the first game, as we pointed out, there were times when even Justin Jefferson admitted, I lined up and I'd look around like, wait, nobody's covering me? Throw me the football.
Right.
Well, Jaire, in the big difference.
Yeah, Green Bay was not ready for them week 1.
From first game to this game was he traveled with him, and he just said, I got him. I got him. And he was all over him. He caught one ball for 15 yards. And then at one point when he went over and broke one up, he did his signature dance on him. Well, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
That was the best part of the night.
As long as you can back it up.
Right.
And he backed it up all day and all night long. And yet, I also told you there's something weird about Justin Jefferson to me. And again, He is a great player, and I will throw that word around loosely, but he has already proven to be a great National Football League player. But he runs a little hot and cold, and I don't know that he has the supreme self-confidence that I see in some of the other receivers like a Devontae or...
After that catch against the Bills, I can't say that. I can't say that. I think it's just Kirk Cousins folds up sometimes. Maybe Kirk Cousins is the one with issues about confidence. If you had a gunslinger on the Minnesota Vikings who was just throwing it up there, Justin Jefferson would show you how confident he was every single game. And I mean, he's about to break the record for most yards in a season, so he's already doing that.
Any of the big, or Jamar Chase.
Let me tell you what it is, Skip. If you look at his directly affected by Cousins, what did Cousins do against the Cowboys? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
What did he do yesterday? Absolutely nothing. 3 interceptions, a strip sack by Kenny Clark.
4 turnovers.
So
Exactly. Cousins just crumbles in those moments. Cousins crumbled against the Philadelphia Eagles. Justin Jefferson struggled in that game as well. Except in the game against the Eagles, he actually was dropping a couple passes. In these 2 other games that they're referring to, this one against the Packers and the other one against the Cowboys, it was really just Kirk Cousins crumbling completely. So you can't say that Justin Jefferson has an issue with confidence. All you can say is that Alexander did a hell of a job defending him, and that Green Bay was able to get pressure on Kirk, and Kirk crumbles up. He folds when he's under immense pressure, which most quarterbacks do. There's only a few quarterbacks in this league who I see week in and week out stand up and stand tall in that pocket and just make throws.
Well, that's Skip. And so now the Packers are back-to-back games of at least 4 takeaways.
Yep.
That's the one thing that those other guys that you mentioned, the Jamar Chase,
Yep.
Joe Burrow doesn't flinch.
No.
The other receivers,
Well, Joe Burrow gets the ball out quick. And his O-line is starting to block better. They're starting to protect better. But off the top of my head, the guy right now who's standing tall in that pocket and will take hits and just get back up and be slinging it is Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is standing in that pocket, and I mean, he got the broken ribs. He comes back in the game, still takes shots. Oh my God, the Justin Herbert slings it. If you put a Justin Herbert on the Minnesota Vikings, you would never question if Justin Jefferson had confidence issues or not.
they don't flinch.
Yep.
And so as long as your quarterback doesn't flinch, I feel confident that I don't have to speed up anything, or I don't have to do anything.
Devontae, especially in Green Bay, he didn't flinch either.
He had Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Okay.
And you see yesterday that stiff.
That Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams connection was so crazy. It's one of the best things I've ever seen in sports. 2 teammates that were in sync like that. It was phenomenal.
Standing in there, and you see.
And it's taken Aaron Rodgers pretty much all season to go from having all that confidence in Devontae to establishing confidence with him and other guys, establishing a connection with him and other guys. He was just so used to going Devontae. And now he's getting a feel for the rookies. He's getting them engaged, and Christian Watson is looking like a stud. Christian Watson is someone to watch out for. I think he's going to be a really special player in this league.
Devontae beat Devontae.
He was, because Stiddy was taking some shots in the face and flinging it.
Yes.
Okay. I did watch my Dallas Cowboys the last 2 times against Justin Jefferson. It was the Cooper Rush game up there on Sunday night a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
He caught, in that game, he got 4 targets and he caught 2 for 21. This year at Minnesota, again, the final score was 40-3 Dallas, but he got 5 targets and he caught 3 for 33. He was human. He was vincible as opposed to invincible, right? Because there are days when Kirk Cousins gets hot that I told you, he just kind of looks for wherever the purple 18 is and he just throws it kind of in his direction.
Kirk Cousins is a very talented quarterback, don't get me wrong. That's why Kirk Cousins can make Justin Jefferson numbers look so good, because he can get him the ball a lot because he's so talented. He makes great throws, but he just has a confidence issue and he crumbles up, folds up in that pocket. But Kirk Cousins is a very talented quarterback. Like, people hate on him, and I'm making my critiques of him now, but Kirk Cousins is a top, this season, he's definitely a top 10 quarterback this season. But all in all, if you wanted me to rank all my guys, and I'm still putting Brady and Rodgers above him, even though he had a better year than them, I'm probably going to put Kirk Cousins 11th, 12th. Like, Kirk Cousins is right there with Dak and Derek Carr.
Right.
Well, he was not hot yesterday. And when he's not hot, they're a bad football team.
Yeah.
Because I look at some of the things that have happened to them this year, not to mention what happened yesterday, 41-17. My team did a 40-3 on Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
40-3.
Right.
And then at Detroit, it was pretty much a wipeout. It was 34-23. And then at Philadelphia, it was 24-7. That was early in the year. But my point is, well, even Indy didn't have enough firepower to sustain. But remember, it's 33-0 at halftime. 33.
Yeah, that's very concerning. I know Minnesota came back, and that's the biggest comeback in NFL history. You can't be down no 33-0 to the damn Colts with Jeff Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Jeff, he don't know what he doing, man. He that ain't a head coach. They got Matt Ryan out there. Matt Ryan is, come on, that's the zombie of Matt Ryan. That's not even a real quarterback. Now they got Nick Foles out there. That's the most just disgraceful team in the NFL. Like, I don't care who has the worst record in the league, the Texans or whatever. The Colts suck, and it's crazy to say because they got real good players, and because you expect more out of that franchise because they always kind of hang around. But what they put out there on the field this year, especially at the quarterback position, and just from a coaching standpoint, that was just an embarrassing product this season. The Colts are ass.
3-0.
If the offensive line isn't good, and then they lose 2 more starters early in the ball game. So now Green Bay says, okay, your offensive line wasn't good to start the game. Now you got backups in early in the game. Let's get after it. This is the first time since 2016 that Green Bay have had back-to-back games of at least 4 takeaways. So that just goes to show you.
Yeah, and that's not really sustainable. Like, everyone wants to hop on the Green Bay train now. I think Green Bay will beat Detroit next week. You win, you're in. It's a home game for Green Bay, but as far as like Green Bay making a legit run through this week, NFC or whatever, I don't know. These past few games, they got Tua with all those turnovers. Tua had the concussion. They were able to catch the Vikings slipping here. This Packers team, don't get me wrong, they're playing good football, and that's why they're generating turnovers. But to rely heavily on turnovers, it's just not really sustainable stuff. And if Tua doesn't get concussed, I think Miami would have beat them, and we wouldn't even be talking about Green Bay anymore.
They're doing something that they haven't done in a very long time, and so now I can attack. You already said I don't just have the utmost confidence in Cousins because I see a guy that's overachiever, that's underconfident, and so now
That's exactly who he is.
And so you see how Green Bay started to attack him, and so now Jefferson is getting more frustrated because I'm not getting the ball. I'm going a whole quarter, and y'all ain't throw me not one target. I ain't got one target. So now they know Jaire knows I got him now. He's frustrated, and so even the ball comes his way, he's so focused on beating me that now he loses concentration.
I got it.
Everything in life is mental.
My final takeaway on Justin Jefferson is he seems like a really nice kid to me.
Yeah.
Almost nice to a fault because he doesn't have supreme self-confidence, like arrogant. You almost have to, you know how wide. Well,
No, Skip, I think he.
Yeah, you just can't say that. Just say that Kirk Cousins isn't giving him the ball enough. That you can't. Justin Jefferson didn't do anything that would make you say that. I've seen clips where Justin Jefferson is screaming and yelling at Kirk to just throw it up there for him. So I wouldn't say that Jefferson lacks any confidence. To put up the numbers he puts up and to be balling this hard, being the main focal point that other teams are going after in their film room studies for the whole week. The plan is, how do we stop this guy? And he still goes out and does this. You don't think teams have tried to like come after him or give him low blows or talk shit to him to try to rattle him? Of course he has high confidence. I mean, Justin Jefferson doesn't have a confidence issue. Skip is mentioning this a little too much. Like, that's not even a valid point.
He does, because he said Devontae Adams currently is the best receiver.
Yeah.
But after this season, I'm going to be the best receiver.
Respect. And I said in another video, Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson, it's like, do you want Kobe with number 8 when he was a little bit more athletic? Or do you want Kobe when he's number 24 when he wasn't quite as athletic, he was a little older, but he just had more precision with his movements? And that's what Devontae is. Devontae's a little more precise in the route running, but Justin Jefferson has a little bit more ups and does a little bit more of those exciting big plays compared to Devontae. But they're both pretty much an A in every single category. Those are the two best doing it. If you want to throw in Tyreek Hill because he just finds a way to get open at all times, you could say Tyreek Hill also.
I don't see.
The wide receiver position is so stacked in the NFL right now, it's crazy.
His body language doesn't speak that way.
Well, I think his body language yesterday, because
but maybe he's just a product. He's a prisoner of Kirk
Well,
Cousins.
most receivers are.
Well,
I mean, you know,
it's the ultimate
Exactly.
dependent position. You can't throw it to yourself.
look at what Mahomes is doing to the receivers that he has. Skip, he ain't got no guys that that's gonna make the Pro Bowl
Except for Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Yeah.
But look at what he's doing. He's 5,000 yards with Juju, and Juju can't outrun me.
Why Juju got to get a shot like that, Shannon? Why Shannon got to send a shot at Juju?
And Scantling, who Green Bay.
A lot of these players, they watch these games. They watch these shows like they watch. Juju's at home right now watching this. If he ain't playing Call of Duty with Mahomes and Kelsey, Juju's at home watching this right now, wondering why Shannon had to send him a shot.
Say, nah, we good. And they got Kadarius Toney, who the Giants had given up on.
They have.
Sky Moore has really never
Tony got game.
materialized into the offensive threat that they thought he would.
I see little
you
flashes.
See, you see potential.
Yep, I do.
But the quarterback
Okay.
can change everything.
Kirk Cousins had a QBR of 10 yesterday.
It was that high?
I was going to say that was actually being nice to
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
That must have been his cousins that was
Yeah,
giving that grade.
Oh shit.
I think you're right. To me, Minnesota is fraudulent.
Yeah.
To me, I don't trust them. I don't fear them. And they will be one and done.
Easy.
And they're going to get a home play. I assume,
Yeah, they was on playoff game.
They're going to win the division. Yeah.
Well, right now they're the third seed.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Okay,
who the
we'll
sixth
see
seed
how
is.
that goes.
But they're the third seed because the 49ers are the 2 seed, and obviously still right now the Eagles are the 1 seed.
Okay.
So yeah, I agree with you.
Well, the 6th seed, as you guys can see here, is the New York Giants. And the Vikings can get away with that game. They were able to beat the Giants by a field goal the last time they played them a few weeks ago. So the Vikings can beat the Giants, but would I be shocked if the Giants went into Minnesota and got them the second time around? I would not be shocked. Dable has them playing hard right now.
You, Skip, because the thing is that if you
And Daniel Jones is underrated. Like, I always thought Daniel Jones was better than people give him credit for. He's a very athletic guy. He can make plays. He has confidence. Like, you know, the guys like Daniel Jones, and it was just a matter of time before he started to blossom a little bit. He really needed Dayball. It was a great hiring. In my opinion, he's coach of the year. If not him, Shanahan, because Shanahan has really just made the Niners run so smoothly, even though they've had injuries and different things going on. But I would lean towards Dable because Dable, he's not really working with as much talent as Shanahan has. Shanahan really has an all-star, just Pro Bowl roster on his hands. I mean, they traded for Christian McCaffrey. They got a lot of tools out there in San Francisco. So I would lean Brian Dable. I would give Brian Dable Coach of the Year.
get it, that offensive line is so bad, and you attack Cousins.
Yep.
And Dable's 2 for 2 now. Josh Allen and then Daniel Jones. He gets these guys who we have question marks surrounding them, and he shows you that, no, these are real franchise QBs. And, like, of course, Josh Allen is a franchise QB, but is Daniel Jones a franchise QB without Brian Dable? We'll see when Brian Dable moves on from the Giants job, or if Daniel Jones leaves New York after this season. He's going to be a free agent. He's going to have some type of market surrounding him. If he goes somewhere else, we'll see if he was just a product of Brian Dable, or if Brian Dable just helped him catch his groove and just taught him how to play the position better, and then if Daniel Jones ends up playing good elsewhere.
Okay, now let's flip it around and look at the other side.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, here come the Packers out of nowhere, and Aaron's kind of full of himself after the games, and
He never lost confidence.
Yeah, and he says, I could see, I didn't say anything this time, but I saw we had that 3-game stretch. Remember, they had 3 big games in a row against Philadelphia, Dallas, and Tennessee.
Right.
And he said, I knew if we could just get one of them, then we'd get back on a roll, and we could pull this thing off.
I don't know if I'm buying that. I just don't know if I'm buying that from Aaron Rodgers. That's not what his body language and the interviews that he was giving with Pat McAfee. He didn't really seem like he was a guy who just thought that they had things under wraps. But hey, if he's saying that he had that in the back of his mind and he thought so, they're here now. So they have an opportunity to close it out and do exactly what they need to do, which is get into the postseason and have a chance.
Well, you needed about 20 ways of help to pull this thing off at 4-8. But it looks like they're going to pull it off because all they have to do now is beat Detroit. No.
Detroit's offense. Now they can put points on the board. Now their defense leaves a lot to be desired because they're at the bottom tier as far as points allowed and yards allowed.
Yep.
But their offense, Oh man, Jerry Goff is dealing.
Jared Goff is dealing, but you always got to worry about Jared Goff, especially if he's going to be outside in the frozen tundra. I mean, that's just no joke over there in Lambeau. Seeing Jared Goff go to Green Bay and win that game straight up, I don't know. If you're talking about points and covering, the spread is 4.5 right now. I guess you could take Detroit if you like that. I'm heavily leaning towards Green Bay. I'll probably end up going official with it as the week goes. I'm just hoping we can maybe get a better line. Maybe that gets dropped down a little bit. People start coming in on Detroit, but I like Green Bay in this spot. I think Jared Goff outside, you see the splits, they're vastly different. Jared Goff at home versus Jared Goff on the road. Jared Goff outdoors. Jared Goff against this Green Bay team, he's had some stinkers already in the past. So even when they beat Green Bay the first time, it's not like they put up a ton of points against Green Bay. It's just that Aaron Rodgers was turning the ball over in the red zone. It wasn't like they only had 15 points against Green Bay the first time. It's not like Detroit did anything amazing versus this Green Bay defense. So I like Green Bay in this spot, but and also you got to remember Detroit Lions playoff hopes might just be done if the Seahawks win earlier in the day. This Green Bay Lions game is going to be prime time. So if the Seahawks win earlier in the day, the Lions' hopes are all but over because the Seahawks have the tiebreaker against the Lions because they beat them 48-45 early in the season. Like I believe that was like week 4 or something like that. So the Lions might not have anything to play for, but still, this is football. Teams want to play spoiler. Dan Campbell is going to have these guys motivated. They seem like they have a good energy in their locker room. So I wouldn't be surprised if even if the Seahawks won, the Lions did go all out and try to play spoiler. But this is a great spot for Green Bay here to take advantage and get into the postseason.
He has receivers that can catch it. And Swift, he can run it and catch it. Jamal Williams, he's a touchdown machine.
Yep.
So they're better offensively than people think. And I know, Skip, I think they got like 8 30-point games, which is a record for them and for the Lions.
Yep.
So offensively, they're good. This is not going to be Dan Campbell has breathed a toughness and a physicality in Detroit. So this is not the same Detroit, Skip, that plays in the dome and that's going to come outside and
No.
No.
Well, the team might not crumble, but Jared Goff will crumble outside.
He's put something inside of them. They're not going to go quietly in the night. Green Bay's going to have their hands full with this team.
Okay, this will be a good one, but Green Bay will win this game.
Okay, yeah.
Agreed.
Because they're just too good. They got too much. And by the way, those young receivers that Aaron wouldn't work with in the OTAs,
They're growing up.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Especially Christian Watson. And I think the best thing for the Packers this season was they bottomed out at a good time. They bottomed out kind of midway or a little bit before the midway part of the season. They started bottoming out. They were really struggling. They caught some real bad L's. They went on a cold streak. I would say their bottom out moment was probably right before that Cowboys game. They were just losing a ton of games, and that Cowboys game gave them a little spark. And what you got to understand about professional athletes is when they bottom out, when a team just completely bottoms out, they either stay on the bottom or they bounce up and they just have nothing to lose. And Green Bay, once they bottomed out, they realized they had nothing to lose. They were playing with house money, and it was just like, hey, we're behind right now. Let's just rally together. Let's try to make this happen. And then you started seeing Green Bay as underdogs and just covering spreads as underdogs and just having that underdog mentality in the course of the actual game and just playing real hard and hungry. And Aaron Rodgers hasn't been really slinging the ball. He hasn't had any 300-yard games this whole season. Even this game against the Minnesota Vikings, Aaron Rodgers didn't even have 200 yards. So they're winning these games with defense. They're winning these games like Skip and Shannon said earlier, they're winning these games with forcing turnovers, but they're really winning this game running the rock. They got Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. They're running the ball, jet sweeps, RPOs, screen passes, and they're just catching guys out in space, and that's been a recipe for success for Green Bay so far. This team's not going to be winning games if you're asking Aaron Rodgers to just sling it deep and make big-time plays. That's not what this team is this year. Aaron Rodgers is really the best game manager in football. That's what he's doing right now. He's managing the game.
But Skip, it was yesterday, that run game. Aaron Jones again.
He's just, I've always
Skip,
said.
you ain't expecting to win no game. Aaron Rodgers threw for $159.
I know.
You're like, oh, if Aaron threw, man, we have
Exactly. He threw for under 200.
Aaron Rodgers 159.
Okay.
And you lose 41, well, the 41-10, 41, whatever. They got 41 with Aaron Rodgers throwing for $160.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this team is. They're not winning games or are losing games based on how many yards Aaron Rodgers throws for. Aaron Rodgers, he's just the point guard who's just getting everybody involved. He's not really the guy attacking.
They did 41-17 in the end. The point is, biggest picture for the Green Bay Packers. I am pretty sure, given all the intel that I have, that the Packers at 4-8 were hopeful of moving on from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
However, they could move on, and there was a lot of talk about should Jordan Love start to get a few snaps.
Right.
Which was foolish. As long as you got a chance to make it to the postseason, you can't put Jordan Love out there for Aaron Rodgers.
See what we got,
Right.
because we saw a flash.
Yeah, I didn't think they can get back in and Skip. I didn't. I said, hey, let the guy get in there and do it.
So
Yeah, I thought their season was cooked, especially the way that Washington was looking. It was looking like Washington was going to be able to rally behind Taylor Heineke. But, of course, these XFL quarterbacks, they just revert to turning the ball over like crazy. Washington brings back Carson Wentz, but it just wasn't enough. Carson Wentz, I mean, he's a cooked product at this point in his career.
smug, condescending Aaron Rodgers is now back in control in Green Bay because he's holding them hostage one more time.
Hey, you know good and well, you're not moving on from Aaron Rodgers. You make the playoffs.
How can you do that? If you make the playoffs, you can't say, oh, we're done. No, you can't justify it. You don't have...
He might say he's done, though, but I think Aaron Rodgers is staying in Green Bay. He's either staying in Green Bay or retiring, in my opinion. I know that since Derek Carr is no longer with the Raiders, people want to see Aaron Rodgers go to Vegas. I just don't see it happening. If it happens, though, it makes for good TV. The Aaron Rodgers, like I said, the Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams connection was truly something special.
The right excuse to say it's time to go.
He might have went to that beach and drunk some cat blood because this joke got 9 lives. Because every time Green Bay try to bury him, that joke come up out that casket like the Undertaker. And he like, don't throw no dirt on me. Y'all threw dirt on me and I grew.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers kind of likes being doubted. He kind of likes people turning their back against him and then showing them. Like, it's just like when he got drafted. These guys, like a guy like Aaron Rodgers, when he doesn't get drafted first overall and he slips in the draft, he uses that as, like, motivation. And he's just that kind of guy. He likes playing the underdog role.
I grew right up out the ground. So here he is again, got $50 million coming to him next year in 2023.
Maybe I have to try some of that IU.
Nah, I'm good.
They sell any of that at GNC.
Skip, you take some of that, you going to pass out, boy, and you might not wake up again. But anyway, Green Bay has the Lions next week. It's a must-win game. I think the Packers are going to do it. I just got to do my homework and study that game up a little bit more. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Vikings are probably going to end up being the 3 seed and facing the Giants in the first round. That's going to be an interesting rematch of the game a few weeks ago. We'll see how the regular season ends for both these teams. Definitely interesting stuff. You guys know I'll be back with more videos as the postseason begins. Thank you for watching. Peace.